All right, great. All right, so all praises, man. Shabbat shalom to everybody. Yeah, I pray you had a good week, like I said before, and I pray that you have a good weekend in Toronto here. It's a longer weekend, because our people are in the streets right now, worshiping Bacchus, man. Well, really Satan through the false god Bacchus, right? Also known as what's his other name? Let me just pull this up. I don't remember his other name. Just spoke about this week here. Just give me a second. Dionysus. Yeah. Worshiping Dionysus, man. Right? The male version of Liberia, um, the Statue of Liberty, man, which the Statue of Liberty represents. This is the male version, and then you have the female version. You can barely tell the difference, right? Because Satan's all about disorder, man, right? So you can't tell man from woman, right? So anyway, our people are in the streets bacchanalian, man, thinking that this is a Caribbean culture, when in fact, all they're doing is worshiping Satan, um, through this particular festivity. But we're here, man, and we're about to break down one of the I would say most challenging scriptures to break down in the Bible, right? Just using scriptures only, right? Um, and so let's get into it. All praise to the Most High that He actually showed me the precepts um, to be able to break this down. And so now you guys are gonna have tools in your tool set to be able to explain to people one of the hardest scriptures in the Bible, Deuteronomy 23 and verse 7, right? Um, if you're new, you're about to hear an Israelite lesson. This is not the Christian church, man, or any other religion. We don't deal with religion. We deal with the law, statutes, and commandments of the Most High God. So if you want to know what the actual true black God of the universe has to say about his laws and how you should live, stick around. If not, to the loop, right? So that being said, let's read verse 7 here. Let's get that, please, Psalms, Deuteronomy chapter 23, and let's get verse 7, right? Actually, before you get into that, I just want to remind people that last week we already looked at what the problem, we read Deuteronomy 23:7, and we looked at the problem with Deuteronomy 23:7. Deuteronomy 23:7 says, Thou shalt not abhor an Edomite. That's what the reading says in the King James Bible. However, all throughout the Bible, the Most High tells you that He hates the Edomites and that He's going to annihilate the Edomites. So, is this a contradiction in the Bible, right? And this is what we're answering this week. Well, it's not a contradiction, right? It's indeed a mistranslation and a deception. Okay, so that's what's going on, and I will prove that today with these scriptures. So give me verse 7 here and 8, please. Sabs, give me verse 7 and 8 here, please.
The screen is not sharing.
Ah,
Thou shalt not abhor an Edomite, for he is thy brother. Thou shalt not abhor an Egyptian, because thou wast a stranger in his land. The children that are begotten of them shall enter into the congregation of Yahawah in their third generation.
right. And Israelites use this scripture to bring Edomites into God's congregation, man. Even though the Maccabees were annihilated. Their whole line was annihilated because they brought Edomites into Yahweh's congregation. Well, that was the final stage, essentially, of the folly that they had begun to get involved in by first disobeying their father, which we looked at, by not annihilating the Edomites, man. Right? They were supposed to war against the Edomites until they had annihilated them. That's what their father told them to do, right? But over the years, as they were rebelling, they started playing politics, man. They got into democracy, man. With the Greeks and Romans, man, the Edomites, you know, and so their whole line was absolutely destroyed, man, right? So how is it that the Most High says, "Thou shalt not abhor or detest an Edomite," whereas an entire righteous family fell, and also Edomites were set up in the holy city, man, right? Herod being the one to actually try to kill Yahawah, man. That's how far it went, right? The when the Edomite come into power, it's nothing but evil being multiplied in the earth, pursuant to First Maccabees chapter 1, verse 7 to verse 10, right? And pursuant to seeing that they tried to destroy Yahawah, nothing good came out of it. That's my point. But yet, here we read, "Thou shalt not abhor an Edomite," right? So there's a problem there. That's either a contradiction in the Bible or something else is going on. I already told you guys what's going on. So let's get into the precepts for how we know, right? So let's go to 2 Samuel, right? And we'll go to chapter 8 and we'll start in verse 1. Now, with this, you got to pay very careful attention, right? And it's good to have the words in front of you so you can actually see what's going on. So, start reading for me from verse 1, please, Sabs.
And after this it came to pass that David smote the Philistines and subdued them. And David took Methegama out of the land of the hand of the Philistines. And he smote Moab and measured with them with a line, casting them down to the ground.
Mm-hmm.
Even with 2 lines measured, he to put to death,
He
and
put
with
he put to death. That's a typo. Go ahead.
and with 1 full line to keep alive.
Mm-hmm.
And some of the Moabites became David's servants and bought gifts.
Read.
David smote also Hadadezer, the son of Rehob, king of Zobah, as he went to recover his border at the river Euphrates. And
Stop.
David,
Pause. So I don't want us to get lost in the weeds, so we're gonna read a few scriptures, then we're gonna ensure that we understand what's going on. All right. So what happened there? David slew Moab and made them his servants. Okay. He also slew the Philistines. So verse 1 tell you David smote the Philistines, meaning he killed the Philistines and subdued them, man. He destroyed their armies and subdued them. Okay. They became servants to him. David took Methegama out of the hand of the Philistines. So took their land, all right, in war, right? Then he goes and he smites Moab, kills the Moabites, the Moabite armies. Um, you know, Determining with a line that you use for construction, the same line that you use for construction to keep things straight. He measure out the line. He say, everybody, line up these guys. The whole measure of this line is gonna die, and another measure of this line is going to be kept alive. And so that's what he did. Um, After he did that, what happened? They became his servants and then they brought gifts. This is the same thing that's gonna happen in the end of time when Christ subjugates the entire world. Every nation is gonna have to bring gifts to the Israelites. The same way that every day everyone has to give their possessions to the Edomite man, to the oppressor, the so-called European. Okay? Every day, all your money goes to Edom. Okay? So the world is gonna switch now. Oh, and Edom is wicked, man. So now every day, all your money is really gonna go to the Israelites, man. All your possessions belong to the Israelites. You understand? So when you put your money in the bank, all of these things, um, and again, metaphorically, when you put your money in the bank, your savings, all of these things, they'll be held by the Israelites, man, right? So the point here being, David subjugated the Philistines and David subjugated the Moabites, and they became servants to him. All right. He also subjugated Hadadezer, all right, by the river Euphrates. So notice the pattern. David subjugates people, the people become his servants. Then he subjugates, they become his servants again, and so on and so forth. And you're gonna see the pattern here in the writing of the scribe. He's gonna keep that pattern going. And then you're gonna see a break in the pattern, and we'll discuss that when we get there. So give me 4 to 6, please, Sister Kira, if you're available. Going
Can you hear
once,
me?
going twice. You
Mhm.
there?
Yeah.
All right. Let me get 4 to 6, please.
Okay. And David took from him 1,000 chariots, and 700 horsemen, and 20,000 footmen. And David,
Huff.
huffed all the chariot horses, but reserved of them for 100 chariots.
Read.
And when the Syrians of sorry Damascus
Yeah.
and when the Syrians of Damascus came to succor Hadazer, king of Zobah, David slew the Syrians 22,000 men. Then David put garrisons in Syria of Damascus, and the Syrians became servants of David and brought gifts. And Yahawah preserved David whithersoever he went.
Right. Stop right there. So, um, David took from Hadadezer 1,000 chariots. He killed most of the horses and kept 100. In verse 4, verse 5, the Syrians, and this is very important, the Syrians of Damascus came to Hadadezer that David had just slew for safety. And David slew 22,000 of the Syrians when they came to Hadadezer for safety. Okay? Notice it says they are the Syrians of Damascus. I want to show you guys something. You guys see where Damascus is? This is Jerusalem. This is the Mediterranean Sea. Here is Africa, right? Here's Africa here. So northeast. We got that Egypt, northeast of Egypt, right? We're in the Mediterranean Sea, Cyprus, that's so-called Europe. Now you guys see here, this is Syria. Northeast of Israel is Syria, all right? And Damascus is the capital city of Syria, all right? So this is where Damascus is, all right? And so David slays these Syrians of sorry these Syrians of Damascus, of the capital city Damascus, a whole bunch of them, right? And what happened after? He put garrisons in Syria of Damascus, all right? um what do you call it? What is a garrison? A garrison is a barrack, all right? He put garrisons there to subjugate them, the same way America puts barracks in people's countries to subjugate them. All right, that's what you do in war. After you defeat your enemy, you put garrisons, barracks in their place, so you can ensure that they stay um in line. You got soldiers there, basically as overseers. Okay, that's how it was done in ancient war. And that's how it's done today. Okay. Let's see here. Garrison, the troops stationed in a fortress or town to defend it. All right. The origin, garrison, defend, okay. All right. Station, troops in a particular place. Provide a place with a body of troops. Okay. Barricade, right? This is what we want, right? Secure. And not secure for their sake, but for yours, right? Stronghold, man. You put strongholds, encampments, a camp there. Barracks. See what I'm telling you guys? I put barracks in the damn place, and hey, the people are subjugated. In fact, geopolitical analysts let you know that unless you can garrison a country after you conquer it, you're not gonna keep that country. So you have to have enough military might after you conquer a country through war to station troops there, or you will not keep control of the country. That's just what it is, right? So everybody knows you got to put garrisons in order to um, subjugate people and have servants there. Okay. Or I should say it's well documented. Not everybody knows. It's well documented. And so we can see that this is true. Okay. So what David did, he put garrisons in Syria of Damascus, and what the Syrians became servants to David and brought gifts. And Yahawah preserved David whether so he went. So Yahawah was supporting this. All right. Um, the Syrians became David's servants at this time. This you got to remember. The other thing you got to note is they killed 22,000 of them, all right, of these Syrians. Okay. This will become very important as we go on. Uh, Ben, read on from 7, please.
And David took the shields of gold that were on the servants of Hadadezer and brought them to Jerusalem, and from and from Beta, and from Berothai, cities of Hadadezer. King David took exceeding much brass. When Toi, king of Hamath, heard that David had smitten all the host of Hadadezer, then Toi sent Joram his son unto King David to salute him and to bless him, because he had fought against Hadadezer and had smitten him. For Hadadezer had warred with Toi, and Joram brought with him vessels of silver and vessels of gold and vessels of brass,
Mm-hmm.
which also King David did dedicate unto Yahawah with the
Mm-hmm.
silver and gold that he had dedicated of all nations which he subdued, of Syria and of Moab, and of the children of Ammon, and of the Philistines, and of Amalek, and of the spoil of Hadadezer, son of Rehob, king of Zobah.
Okay, stop right there. 1 second. I want to make sure I don't miss anything here. Okay. David dedicated unto Yahweh with silver and gold, right? All that, sorry, it says David did dedicate unto Yahweh with the silver and gold that he had dedicated of all nations which he subdued. All right, so the writer is telling us here, the scribe is telling us all these things, and later on it's actually gonna name the scribe that's writing this history, man, which is really awesome. Okay. In any case, David dedicated these things to Yahweh. And then it starts to name who David had subdued. And you guys need to remember these names, especially Syria, because here we note David had already subdued Syria. This is what we learn when we focus in on verse 12, right? The 11 and 12. It says he subdued. Syria, and we read he subdued Syria and killed 22,000 people. He subdued Moab, right? Then it adds some detail. It tell you the children of Ammon, yeah, he subdued them too. The Philistines, we know that from the reading. Amalek, we just find that out because the scribe just wrote it in there. So we just finding out, okay, they dealt with Amalek as well. And Amalek is an Edomite clan, right? And it says, and of the spoil of Hadadezer, son of Rehob, king of Zobah, which we just read about. So these are all the nations that David had already subdued, right? So the scribe is giving us here a what's the word? A summary of the nations that David has subdued up to then. Read on. Now hold on a second before you read. Now it's gonna get very interesting. Notice the Syrians are already subdued, family. And yet we're gonna read about, and the Syrians were subdued in Damascus, which is their land. And now we're gonna read about the Syrians being subdued again in the land of Edom. And you're gonna start to see the narrative unravel, hopefully. Because if they're already subdued, how are they getting subdued again? You understand? In the same historical writing. He already wrote that. You understand? It's like me saying Caravana was at the lake shore and there was 20,000 people worshiping Satan in the name of Caribbean culture. And then I go on and I write and I write and I come back and see the exact same thing again. Right? Caribbean people down at the lake shore worshiping Satan in the name of Bacchus. Actually, no, I changed it from the lakeshore to Eglinton. So at first I said it was lakeshore, and now I'm saying it happened at Eglinton. So which one is it? Did it happen at Lakeshore? Did it happen at Eglinton? Whoa, what's happening here? Right? This is how you can begin to spot errors in the writings. You got to pay close attention to what's happening. Anyway, let's read the actual material. I gave that example there. My bad if it was a bit drawn out or confusing. But let's read the text, and the text will show you a similar example. So let's read on. 13.
And David got him a name when he returned from smiting of the Syrians in the valley of Saul, being 18,000 men.
Pause. Did the writer already write about David slaying and subjugating the Syrians?
Yeah.
Okay. Keep reading. But sorry, and he said it was done where? In what location?
Damascus.
Damascus. So now it's saying he smote 18,000 in the
And he put garrisons in Edom.
No. It says he smote 18,000 where?
Oh, in the valley of Saul.
Right. That's not Syria, family. The Valley of Salt is a historical location mentioned in the Bible, specifically in the Old Testament. Is generally believed to be situated in the region of the southern Dead Sea, between Judah and where? Edom. Let me see if I can uh, pull up a map. Okay, south of the Dead Sea. Let me just pull up Dead Sea. All right. The Valley of Salt. is the Valley of Salt because of its location. All right. The Dead Sea is called the Dead Sea because it's very, very salty. Okay, this was the salt source for much of the world, man. Right? Actually, let me not say the things I don't know, but for much of Jerusalem, and certainly of Edom, this was the place, man. Okay? So south of the Dead Sea is the Valley of Salt. Okay? And oh, this map doesn't show it. Hold on a second. Um 1 second. All right. So this is the Dead Sea, same Dead Sea we were looking at. Okay. Judah, Edom, the land of Edom, the Valley of Salt. All right. The Valley of Salt is actually in the land of Edom. These borders are not 100% correct, but the Valley of Salt is considered to be in the land of Edom. All right. The mountains are south of Judah and south of the Dead Sea. Okay, so this Valley of Salt would have been the Edomites' land. That being said, when David goes and got a name as he returned from smiting it says Syrians here in the Valley of Salt, being 18,000 men. Now look what it says after. Go ahead.
He put garrisons in Edom. Throughout all Edom put he garrisons. And all they of Edom became David's servants. And Yahawah preserved David whithersoever he went.
All right. So please explain to me why Syria is already subjugated in Damascus, but yet now David is subjugating Syria again in the land of Edom and then putting garrisons in Edom after subjugating Syria. Does this fit with the pattern of the writing, family?
No,
Why not?
because David already smote the Syrians and put garrisons in their land. He wouldn't do it again.
Exactly. The garrisons are already in the land of Syria. So why is it saying here he smote Syrians and then put garrisons in Edom? What do you guys think is going on?
It's a mistranslation and deception, and or deception.
Well, yes, Saba, we established that. Thank you. I appreciate that. Right? That's literally what I said. Right? And I
Mhm.
appreciate that. Right? But anyway, thank you. We'll go on from there. Right?
Uh-huh.
It's a mistranslation. Okay? That's what's going on. So what should be there? Not you, Sabs. What do you guys think that should say? This portion. Anyone can answer.
It should say Edom.
Sabs, I said not you, right? You're right. Now why? Why? Why should it say Edom? Is you I'm talking to you, no, Sabs?
Because because like I mentioned before, David already fought the Syrians, it it says here in the Valley of Salt, which is in Edom. So it should be the Edomites who were slain, 18,000 of them.
Oh, yes, exactly. It should say Edom. So the question then becomes, why does it say Syria instead of saying Edom, right? When it clearly should be Edom here because the Syrians are already subjugated, right? And we're gonna compare um two scriptures in order to uh basically show why it says Syrian here and it really should say Edom, right? So we'll stay here at 2 Samuel 8 and 12, and we will compare that to another scripture. Watch this. Um, we'll go to First Chronicles. So these are the scriptures you ought to note. Okay, these are two of the key scriptures, and I think I have two others as well. First Chronicles 18, right? And let's see, 11. Ruth, Ruth,
Yeah, I'm here.
right. Um, read for me from 9 to 11, please.
Now went to king of Ham
Hamath.
Hamath heard now how David has smitten all the hosts of Hadarezer,
Mm-hmm.
king of
Hadarezer.
king of Zobah.
Mm-hmm.
He sent Hagdoram, his
Mm-hmm.
son, to King David to inquire of his welfare and to congratulate him, because he had with
He fought against Hadarezer.
fought against Hazard and smited him. For Hazard
Hadarezer.
Hadarezer had war with two,
Mm-hmm.
and with him all manners of vessels of gold and silver and brass.
Right.
Them also King David um dedicated unto Yahawah with the silver and the gold that he brought from all these nations, from Edom and from
Moab.
Moab, and from the children of Ammon, and from the Philistines, and from Amalek.
Yeah, from the Philistines and from Amalek. Sabs, do you notice anything about this scripture, these scriptures that Kara just read here, compared to the other ones that we read in Second Samuel? Do you notice anything similar in them? Ben,
Yeah,
sorry, Ben.
yeah, yeah.
What do you notice?
Well, it mentions again that he put garrisons in Edom, and the Edomites became David's servants, and it also mentions Hadarezer that was smitten, and Toy gave him errands of vessels and gold and brass.
So it doesn't say anything about the Edomites being slain. Yeah, yeah, here as well. It doesn't say that, but you are correct about Hadarezer. So if you read here, it says, when two king of Hamath heard how David had smitten all the hosts of Hadarezer, king of Zobah, he sent his son to congratulate him. This is First Chronicles chapter 18, verse 11, from verse 9 to 11. And then we go back here in 2 Samuel, right, chapter 8, it says, then two sent Joram his son unto King David to salute him. All right. Here it says, he sent Hadoram his son, right, to inquire of his welfare. All right. These are just two different translations of the same account. Here he's called Toy in 2 Samuel 8, chapter 8 and 10. And here he's called Two in First Chronicles 18 and verse 9. Two king of Hamath. And here it says Toy king of Hamath. It's the same person. It's the same account. Okay. Just translated differently. Okay. So what I want you guys to notice is here in 12 it says David dedicated from 11 David did dedicate unto Yahawah with silver and gold, with the silver and gold that he had dedicated of all the nations we subdued. Head and list of nations. Syria it starts with and goes on to Moab, the children of Ammon, and so on and so forth. But when you go to Chronicles, it says in it says David, when it talks about David dedicating their spoils to Yahawah, it says Edom, where it should say Syria. It says Edom. Them also King David dedicated unto Yahawah with the silver and the gold that he brought from all these nations, from Edom, Moab, Syria, Ammon, Philistines, and from Amalek. Why does it say Edom here? The same verse, and it says Syria here, of Syria and Moab, and it says here of Edom and Moab. You see that? So what has happened there? The word Syria has been mistaken for the word Edom, family. The word Syria has been mistaken for the word Edom. I hope you guys see where I'm going with this. Okay, so we have a solid, we have precepts in the Bible showing you the word Syria uh, uh, being mistaken or mixed up with Edom. This is very important. Why would Edom and Syria be mixed up? Why would these words be mistaken one for the other? Well, the answer is because Edom and Aram look very similar in modern Hebrew. Why Aram? Syria and Aram is the same thing. Okay? The word is translated as Syria, but really it says Aram or Aramean. Okay? Which people understand to be Syrians. So for understandability or deception, they use Syria as opposed to using Aram. Okay? But I will show you guys. So Edom, the word Edom, here it is. Alaf, Dalat, Mam. Okay? And of course, I'm calling the letters in Paleo Hebrew. In modern Hebrew, they would call this Aleph, Dalet, Mem. Okay? Take a close look at these letters. All right? Edom. All right. Now let's look at Aram. And in case you guys thought I was lying or anybody's doubting, this is the same First Chronicles chapter 18. And in verse 5, as we read, it says, and when came the Syrians, you see that? in English is translated as the Syrians, but the Hebrew word is Aram. Okay? Aram, the Syrians. All right. So now let's click on Aram. Oh, I should do this in two different windows so we can get a direct comparison. Can I detach this? Oh, this is great. What is that? Edom, and then can I do this here? Whoops. 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 Sorry, family. Just bear with me a second here. Edom, okay. And Aram. Just 1 second. One second. Anyways, Alaf, okay. Rash, Mem. You guys see that? Actually, what here, I wonder if I can just, oh, that's beautiful. Okay, that is beautiful. Okay, so this is Aram, and I don't know how to thing this window right here. Close this window right here. Get too fancy, man. Exit split screen, great. And this is Edom. Watch this. That's really what it reads, Adam, but we know that's Edom, okay? All right. That's what it reads in the paleo, right? So let me see if I can zoom in here. Perfect. Um, Brother Justice. Brother Justice, are you able to speak?
Yeah,
Uh, do these two words look similar, brother? In the Hebrew? Look at this and this.
yeah, without the marking underneath the, I guess you could say the one that looks like a 7
Exactly, right?
and has an arch on the top one, and the second one is straight.
Exactly, right? But the damn words look alike. The words look alike, family. That is why, thank you. That is why they were mistaken. You understand? This is why we read in 2 Samuel 8:12, it says Syria he had subdued. And then when we go to 1 Chronicles 18, it says Edom. Remember, in the account, it didn't talk about the Edomites yet. It's only spoken about the Syrians. So right here in 1 Chronicles 18 and 11, the reading should be Assyria. the correct reading is in 2 Samuel 8 and 12, right? He had subdued Syria and Moab. We read about it, 22,000 of them. But when you go to the same account in First Chronicles 18, it says he had subdued Edom here. But it's really Syria. It's Aram, not Edom, right? So the word Edom and the word Aram were mixed up uh, in that particular situation, okay? And um, it was mixed up also in Deuteronomy 23 and verse 7, okay? It was done before, again, either mistakenly or because of deception. It was done before, and we have precepts to prove it. And now in Deuteronomy 23 and 7, it's done again, right? So, which account is correctly rendered, right? Which is the correct reading, right? Is it Edom or is it Aram? Let's go to Psalm 60, right? We'll read verse 1, and then we'll pull up also 1 Kings 11. All right, so let's go to Psalm 60. And then we'll also pull up 1 Kings 11. I will go from 14. Okay, so Sister Kira, actually Ruth, let me get this verse. Sister Kira, let me get this one, please.
Sorry, what verse?
This is Psalm 60, and we're reading just verse 1.
Okay. Am I reading the part yeah, I'm reading the part in the brackets, right?
Yes, that's very important. Yes, that's what you want to read. Yes.
Okay. To the chief musician upon Shushandith, Mitcha, Mitcha,
Miktam of David.
sorry?
The word is miktam,
Mic,
miktam. Yeah, it's just a
Mictam,
K sound. Yeah.
okay. Mictam of David, to teach, when he strove with, um,
That's
um,
what's that? Aram Naharaim. Raim. Aram Naharaim. Jeez. That's a serious name.
when he strove with Aram Naharaim
Mm-hmm.
and with Aram Zobah, when Joab returned and smote of Edom in the valley of Salt 12,000. O Yahawah, thou hast cast us off, thou hast scattered us, thou hast been displeased. O turn thyself to us again.
Okay, so stop right there. So, which one of the accounts is correct? Well, we got precepts to show. It says this is written to the chief musician, right? For him to teach. Okay. When sorry, it's written to the chief musician upon Shushani Duth. Okay. Yeah, Shushani Duth. Okay, a Miktam of David to teach. When David strove with who? Aram Naharaim. Remember, Aram means Syria. This is when David strove or fought with the Syrian. And with who? Aram Zobah. Remember, we just read about Zobah, right? We just read about Zobah, right here in 2 Samuel 8. Is it going? Is it going there? Yes. Okay. Let's see. When the Syrians of Damascus came to succor Hadadezer, king of Zobah. Okay, he's referred to here. Let's see. One second. Hadadezer, king of Zobah, is referred to in Psalms 60 as Aram Zobah. You see that? And then let's see, Aram Naharaim, that would be the Hadadezer, king of Zobah. Uh-huh. Okay, Syrians of Damascus came to Hadadezer, king of Zobah. Okay, so the Syrians of Damascus. So the Syrians of Damascus are Aram Naharaim. Man, that cannot be translated correctly, man. Aram Naharaim. Anyways, um, are the Syrians of Damascus, and Aram Zobah is the king. Is Zobah Hadadezer, king of Zobah. Okay. This is why it's so important to learn the language because you can start to decipher, these particular details. In any case, so th this psalm was written, a Psalm of David was written when Joab returned and smote of Edom in the Valley of Salt, 12,000. Now it says 12,000 here. I'm not gonna go into it today, but the translation of this word here could also mean 20. Actually, it's not gonna take much time. Let me just pull it up so you guys can see, right? They really made a mess of our Bible, man. Where is it here? Psalm 60. Psalm 60. What is that, verse 1? Interlinear. Now we have the convenience of doing this. You don't always have the convenience. I'm just showing you guys so you know. You don't have to go into all of this, all right? It's enough to show that the word Syria and the word Edom have been mixed up before. Um okay, so it says Joab and killed Edom. Wait, hold on. Okay, and Syria Zobah and returned Joab, all right, and killed Edom in the Valley of Salt. Okay, and it says 2 and 10,000. 2 and 10,000. All right. Um, that 2 and 10,000, they translated as 12,000. But really, watch this. The correct translation, you see that? You have all these options, okay? And you have these precepts also showing that the word also means both, okay, as in double, both, uh, 2 wives, 12 years, both. I'm just trying to see 2 and 60, 2 and 12. Just trying to see here if they have um one of the translations where it says double. Okay, it's not on this side. However, one of the senses of the word, let's see here. Just bear with me. It's kind of hard to see here. twice. All right, that's one of the senses of the word, twice. Okay. Um, uh, oh, 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 oh. One sec. Anyway, in any case, these are the many translations of this particular word, okay? Or the many instances where it was used and the various numbers derived. 22,000, 20,000, 22,000, and so on and so forth. This is why you gotta go to the precepts, right? And link up the precepts. We know it was not 12,000, okay? Here's some of the senses of the word: both, couple, double, which is the correct translation. Double 10 is 20. How do we know that? Because it tells you when we read 2 Samuel chapter 8 here and verse 3, I believe it was. Is it 3? No, not 3. 4, 5. David slew of the Syrians 22,000 men. Okay? 22,000 men. So how we go from 22,000 to 12? Well, that's a mistranslation, right? Um, it's not 12. Okay? In Psalm 60, this is not to be 12,000 that he slew in the Valley of Salt. And again, this mistranslation is either a genuine mistake or again set up for deception, right? Because, of course, Edomites don't want any clarity around the concept of Edom and the work Edom does in the world and the role Edom plays in the world. All right. So I'm giving you guys this for your knowledge. You don't have to go into all of that. But again, this number here is not 12,000. It's the same 20,000 from the other account. All right. And who was he smiting in the Valley of Salt here? Psalm 60 makes it very clear. It says, Joab returned and smote of Edom in the Valley of Salt 12,000, but really it's 20,000. And where did he slay them? In the Valley of Salt. Who was he with? David. When you go to the other account, it says David did it. Why does it say David did it? Well, the same reason it says Donald Trump is sending 200 nukes to Russia. Donald Trump is not getting on a plane and sending 200 nukes to Russia. He's not lugging the nukes himself one by one and passing it off to Biden, man. Yeah, he's not doing that. He's giving the command as the commander in chief, and people are getting it done. Okay. So David, of course, as the commander in chief, gives the command, and Joab, his general, goes and gets the work done. So that's why you find it telling you different individuals slew these Edomites in the Valley of Salt. Okay, so here we read in 2 Samuel 8. I just want to show you guys Joab is here too. So David got him a name when he returned from smiting the Syrians in the Valley of Salt, being 18,000 men. But Psalm says they were slaying the Edomites in the Valley of Salt. David and Joab were slaying Edomites in the Valley of Salt. Edom in the Valley of Salt. Okay? David was smiting Syrians in the Valley of Salt, 18,000 men. Now, what's the difference between 18,000 and 20,000 and 22,000? Well, what are they doing? Going around counting corpses? No, man. They're estimating, okay? And so that's why you have a little bit of a range in the numbers, okay? They're estimating the number of people. And so the point here being somebody was slain in the Valley of Salt. Who was it? Is it the Syrian from 2 Samuel? Is it actually the Syrian that was slain? And then garrisons were set up in Edom after slaying the Syrian? Or is it the Edomite that was slain in the Valley of Salt? And then garrisons were put up in Edom. All right. Well, the precepts will show that it's the Edomite that was slain, right? So that's Psalm 60 showing you Edom was slain in the Valley of Salt. And let's go to another one, right? Let's go to 1 Kings 11, right? And we'll go from 14. Oh, sorry. I said I was going to show you guys Joab was there as well, right? So you understand that when Psalm says Joab did the work, yeah, Joab did do the work. Okay, David reigned over all Israel. David executed judgment and justice unto all the people. This is after the Most High was with David whithersoever he went, and he set up barracks in Edom. And look what it says here. Joab, the son of Zeruiah, was over the host, which is over the army, man. And Jehoshaphat, the son of Ahihud, was the recorder. This is the person who wrote this account. Jehoshaphat, the son of Ahilud. Okay. And Joab was over the army. That's why in Psalm 60 it says, to the chief musician upon Sushanaduth, Miktam of David, to teach when he strove with Aram Naharaim and Aram Zobah, when Joab returned and smote of Edom in the valley of Salt, 12,000. Okay. And Yahawah, and so on and so forth. All right, that's why it says Joab returned from the valley of Salt here, suing the Edomites, right? And it says in Samuel, it was David. It says David because again, David is the chief, but Joab was the leader of the army, man. So Joab went and swing the swords. David did as well, but of course Joab's getting the credit as the general of the army. Okay, so that's all that's happening there. So now let's go to First Kings, chapter 11. Um, whose turn is it to read? Is it you, Savs? Sorry, Benjamin. Ben, go ahead.
Wait, did Carol already go? I mean, Ruth.
Not sure,
Anyway,
but go ahead.
14,
I have scripts for her after this, but go ahead.
14.
Yep.
And Yahawah stirred up an adversary unto Solomon, Hadad the Edomite. He was of the king's seed in Edom.
So
For it came
Yahawah stirred up an adversary unto Solomon, Hadad the Edomite. Okay. So here again, we see the Edomites are adversaries, man, right? To Israel. Okay. And he was of the king's seed in Edom. 15, go ahead.
For it came to pass when David was in Edom, and Joab the captain of the host was gone up to bury the slain, after he had smitten every male in Edom. For 6 months did Joab remain there with all Israel, until he had cut off every male in Edom.
So what
That
was hold on, pause. So what were Joab and David doing in verse 15? What were they trying to achieve? Because we see the account in 2 Samuel 8. We see the account in first I think it's First Chronicles 18. We see the account in both these places. They're going and they're slaying all these guys and setting up garrisons. What was the intention, according to verse 15, Ben?
mm, to smite 18,000 men in Edom.
That was not the intention according to this scripture. Read the verse 15. What was the intention?
For it came to pass when David was in Edom, and Joab the captain of hosts was gone up to bury the slain, after he had smitten every male in Edom.
Read.
Mm. For 6 months did Joab remain there with all Israel until he had cut off every male in Edom.
So what was their intention? What was their goal?
Mm.
Brother Justice, what was the goal?
But you cut off all the male in Edom.
That's it. The goal was to kill every Edomite man. That was the goal. So these accounts that we've been reading in Second Samuel and First Chronicles, it tells you here what the goal was. Joab and David were there for 6 months trying to kill every Edomite, man. So why does Deuteronomy 23:7 says, Thou shalt not abhor an Edomite? Don't detest an Edomite, for he is thy brother. And yet, the Most High says right here that a man after his own heart was trying to kill every male in Edom, right? It's got to make sense, family. Okay? There's no contradiction in the Bible, only contradictory understandings. You understand? So they were there trying to annihilate the Edomites. That's what they were there trying to do. Okay? So here we have two witnesses saying that it was the Edomites that they were there killing in Edom. One we have in the Valley of Salt, they were trying to kill the Edomites. Well, two say the Valley of Salt. In the Valley of Salt, they were trying to kill the Edomites. And one says in the Valley of Salt, they were trying to kill the Syrian. 2 Samuel chapter 8, verse 13, David got him a name when he returned from smiting of the Syrians in the Valley of Salt, being 18,000 men. And then he put garrisons in Edom after slaying all the males in Syria, the males that he had already, after slaying the people in Syria, the people that he had already subjugated. This doesn't make any sense, family, right? So what is the correct reading here, right? Brother Jay, if you got it, what's the correct reading here? What should this say here? Based on this evidence.
Where?
Here in verse 13, it said, David got him a name when he returned from the smiting of the Syrians in the Valley of Salt, being 18,000 men, and he put garrisons in Edom and so on and so forth. So what should this reading say instead of Syrians based on the precepts that we looked at?
Well, it should have said Edom.
It should have said Edom. And that's plain because the witnesses say it's the Edomites that they were killing. Okay? So now, I believe we have everything that we need, right? Let's see here. Uh, why do I have 21 here? Oh, yeah, this is good too. In First Kings chapter 11, if I read down in 21, it literally tells you that Hadad, being the only Edomite that escaped the slaughter, waited until David and Joab were dead before he came back to Edom. Why? Because he knew if he came back there, he'd be destroyed because they were trying to annihilate the Edomites, right? And I'll read. It says, And when Hadad heard in Egypt that David slept with his fathers, and that Joab, the captain of the host, was dead, Hadad said to Pharaoh, Let me depart, that I might go to mine own country. Of course, Hadad being uh, uh, one of the royal Edomites, okay? Hadad fled, he and certain Edomites of his father's servants with him to go into Egypt, Hadad being yet a little child. So they were trying to kill the whole of Edom, and Hadad and some of his father's servants escaped and went to the Hamites. Okay, this is why even today, you know, man, Hamites love these Edomites, man. Nothing a Hamite love more than to have an Edomite on their arm, you know. They had a long-standing relationship, and they've been helping these Edomites. This is why Edom always give the Hamite, especially the Egyptian, high place in his books, man. This is the only so-called dark-skinned person. This is the only melanated person really that Esau respect and give a high place, right? Because they've been friends since Esau ran away from home. Because the first two people he married were a Hamite and an Ishmaelite, right? So they had those good relations for millennia, right? See what else I want to bring out here. Let's go to 2 Kings 14. And Ruth, let me get 1 to 3, please.
In the second year of Josh,
Joash, Joash.
Joash, the son of the Jehoash, king of
Mm-hmm.
Israel, reigned. Am Amaziah,
Amaziah.
Amaziah, the son of Joash, king of Judah.
Mm-hmm.
He was 25 years old when he began to reign, and reigned 25 years in Jerusalem. And his mother's name was Gideon of Jerusalem.
Mm-hmm.
And he did that which was right in the sight of Yahawah, yet not like David his father. He did according to all things that Joash his father did.
Right. So in the second year of Joash, son of Jehoahaz, reigned Amaziah, the son of Joash, king of Judah. All right. So Amaziah is reigning. He's the king of Judah. Why is this important? Well, it's important because it's going to show you that there was another slaughter in the Valley of Salt, and it wasn't Syrians. The Syrians live in Damascus, man. They live in Syria, in Damascus, the capital city, and Syria, the land, right? That's where the Syrian lives, right? That's where they fight um for their land, because that's their land, up in the northeast, as I showed you guys. And the Edomites are the ones that fight in the Valley of Salt, because south of Israel is Edom, man. Okay, going to the bay of Elat, the port of Elat. You see, Esau been a businessman since the beginning. When he had those caves, the highway that came from Egypt all the way and went up into Europe was called the King's Highway, and Esau owned that highway. So so Esau's collecting tax, man, for you to take his highway. It's his highway. You gotta pay him. And then he has the port of Elat to the south. Let me see if I can give you guys a little visual here, right? Um, Making money, man. Okay, there it is. This we're gonna get this if I click that. Open image in new tab. There's Jerusalem, here's the Dead Sea, Gaza, right? And there it is. Here's the port, man, right? In the Gulf of Aqaba. So this guy's making bare money off of the King's Highway, okay, which I don't remember exactly where it cut I don't remember exactly the path of it. But all the traders would use it to get into Egypt and to start going north and get across into Babylon. All right. And he had his port of Elat here, man, getting money from the very beginning, right? That's why his firstborn son is basically named I get money, man. You know, my God is fine gold, Eliphaz. That's his firstborn son name. So Esau's all about dollars, man. That's why he bowed down to Satan to get the whole world in his possession, even though Yahweh Shai would never do it, right? And Yahweh Shai was offered and said, hell no, right? I worship Yahweh. Esau said, yeah, man, I worship that money, man. In God we trust, but it's the money. That's his God, right? That's why he subjugate the whole world for money, man. That's all he cares about. He don't care about people. He care about money, you know. In any case, let's finish this uh reading here in Second Kings. So we read about Amaziah being the one reigning. And look what Amaziah was doing. Verse 7. Go ahead, Ruth. Verse 7. Ruth, you there?
Yep.
Go ahead.
He slew of Edom in the valley of Salt 10,000 and took Salah by war, and called the name of it Joktheel unto his day. Then Amaziah.
No, that's it. That's it. So
Oh,
he slew, Amaziah did what? He slew of Edom in the valley of Salt, man. 10,000 people. And he took Selah by war and called the name of it Joktheel unto this day. So you have David slaying uh Edom in the valley of Salt, and you have Amaziah slaying Edom in the valley of Salt. All right. So with these precepts, it should be crystal clear to you guys that when you read this here, 2 Samuel 8, and it says he was smiting Syrians in the valley of Salt, it should be crystal clear that the correct reading is he was slaying Edom in the valley of Salt. What should also be crystal clear in your mind is that the word Edom and the word Aram are have been mistaken for one another in the Bible before. And what should and my conclusion with all of this is that the exact same thing happened in Deuteronomy chapter 23 and verse 7. Yahawah hates the wicked. He hates Edomites. He hates the oppressor. The oppressor is the eagle. Everything bad in the world is perpetrated by the seed of Satan, who is the Edomite, the so-called Caucasian man, the so-called European, right? They are the people of Satan, right? I mean, I man, I gotta read this one precept, right? And then we'll end with Deuteronomy 23 and 7. Right? I mean, it's so obvious. I don't even know what else to say, you know. Anyway, we're gonna go to Second Ezra chapter 11 and take a look at this. In case anybody was wondering whether or not um it's the so-called European that the Most High was talking about, whether if anyone's questioning whether I'm correct in what I'm saying or not, look at the direct uh uh sh- uh look at the highlighter that the Most High put within the Bible, which, by the way, they took this book out of the regular Bible. So religious people, especially Black Christians, would never see this in order to be able to identify who is the man of sin. And the Most High tell you the man of sin has to be identified before the world ends in 2 Thessalonians chapter 2, verse 3 and 4. Right? Um, here's the perfect highlight, and you just can't get around it, right? The Most High says here in I think it's down in verse 30 something, 30 37. Okay. So Ezra is seeing a particular vision. And what he's seeing in this vision is the same beast from the book of Daniel. Well, let me see if I can. It's in the next chapter. The account is in 11, but right here it tells you that this beast that we're about to read about is the same beast from the book of Daniel. So the angel is explaining the dream to Ezra and says this: The eagle whom thou sawest come up from the sea is the kingdom which was seen in the vision of thy brother Daniel. Okay? The beast is not the Pope, like the Christian church like to tell you. The Pope is not the beast. Right here it says it's a kingdom. The eagle who thou saw come up from the sea is the kingdom which was seen in the vision of thy brother Daniel. The fourth beast. It was described as having iron claws and all of these things, and it wasn't named though. It didn't say it was a dragon. And so religion and Christianity has, especially Christianity, has told you, oh, it's a dragon. Well, the Bible says it's a damn eagle. It's an eagle, family, right? The fourth beast that would rule the world with much wicked oppression is an eagle. Um, which nation is obsessed with and uses the eagle on literally everything they do? The United Snakes of America, man. These guys rule the world with much wicked oppression through NATO. They have the rulership of the entire world. The G7 is the seven-headed beast that you read about in the scriptures. The eagle is America, man. You know, what else they have the eagle on? If anyone can remember other stuff that they have the eagle on, please uh let me know, and I'll pull up a couple more examples, right? Say what the AI have to say. Yes, the United States uses the bald eagle as a national symbol. It appears on many official items. Specifically, the bald eagle is featured on the Great Seal of the United Snakes, man, which is used on official documents, currency, and military insignia. And how do they conquer the world? Through the military, man. The bald eagle was officially designated as the national bird in 2024, though it had been a long-standing symbol and emblem of the nation since 1782, man. Okay. Flags on public buildings, they have it on. It's the symbolism for strength, sovereignty, and preservation of the union, right? The union of the 50 snakes, right? It's on the back of the $1 bill. It's on government documents, and it's the national symbol. I mean, hell, at this point, even the damn president looked like a damn eagle, man. Donald Trump looked like an old freaking eagle, man. This damn bird face. Okay, let me see this. Oh gosh, boy. Watch him, right? Look like Mighty Eagle from Angry Birds, man. Is it Angry Birds? Yeah, Angry Birds. Right? Watch the old bird, man. There he is, right? The last bird. But that's a whole other teaching. So let's read this here in case people think this is a joke or some kind of mistake. Second Ezra's chapter 11, I'll read verse 1 and then I'll jump down. Then saw I a dream, and behold, there came up from the sea an eagle, which had 12 feathered wings and 3 heads. And there's an entire breakdown for this eagle, pinpointing every nation of the so-called European that came into being, ending with the 3 heads of the eagle being Britain, Russia, and the United Snakes of America, right? I'm gonna jump down to where the lion begins to rebuke the eagle. It says, and I beheld, and lo, as it were a roaring lion chased out of the wood, and I saw that it sent out a man's voice unto the eagle. The fourth beast is the eagle. Hear thou, and I will talk with thee, and I shall say unto thee, art not thou it that remainest of the 4 beasts? That's plain, family. Whom I made to reign in my world, that the end of their times might come through them. The end of the time of the Edomite is coming through the eagle. So we're not making any mistakes here, right? It says, and the fourth came and overcame all the beasts that were past, right? And you can read about those other beasts in Daniel, what chapter? I don't remember the chapter. You can find it though, right? You had the bear and the leopard and in one particular chapter, I think it's chapter 6 or 5. And then you have in another chapter the ram, um, and I don't remember the other ones, or the metaphor used. Okay, but the Most High uses various metaphors, various animals as a metaphor for various kingdoms on the planet. Um, so he says to the eagle, hey, are you not the beast that remain out of the 4 beasts, who I made to reign in my world? That the end of your times might come through them. And the fourth came and overcame all the beasts that were past and had power over the world. The eagle had power over the world with great fearfulness, and over the whole compass of the earth with much wicked oppression, family. That's how the Most High described the eagle. And so long time dwelt he upon earth with what? Truth? Deceit, man. The eagle dwelt a long time upon earth with deceit. That's why the Most High tell you evil was multiplied on earth when this guy came into power in the book of First Maccabees, the 1st chapter, verse 7 to 10. The Most High says, for the earth hast thou not judged with truth, man. Okay? You didn't rule the earth with truth, Esau, eagle. You didn't do it. You did it with much wicked oppression and deceit. And then he says, for thou hast afflicted the meek. Hear what the eagle has done, right? Afflicted the humble, right? Torture the humble, okay? Hurt the peaceable. So people come to you in peace, you mash them up same way, right? The eagle, you have loved liars, love them, okay? I mean, Hollywood is a big fat lie, man. They make money off telling as many lies as possible, and these things brainwash people into thinking all kind of madness. You know, chiefly that the so-called European is some kind of hero, man. Some kind of virtuous being. When he's a devil. The devil on earth in the flesh, you know. It says, and an eagle, you have destroyed the dwellings of them that brought forth fruit. Okay? And you have cast down the walls of such as did thee no harm, man. Didn't the eagle get America by destroying the Native American, man? that showed him how to survive when he came there and was dealing with him good? Well, he break down their walls, man. They didn't do him nothing. And he just wanted the land, so he took it, right? Fulfilling the prophecy that his father, Isaac, told him when he said, hey, you can get a blessing, but it's gonna be by war. You're gonna get everything, the highest of the earth, but you're gonna get it by war, right? In another place, the Most High tell him, since you haven't been afraid of blood, blood is gonna pursue you wherever you go. You're a bloody man. The eagle, the eagle is being described in these particular ways, right? Therefore is thy wrongful dealing come up unto the highest, and thy pride unto the mighty man. Okay? The eagle is proud, the eagle deal wrongfully. The highest have looked upon the proud times, which were the times of the ruling of the Edomites, the so-called European, and behold, they are ended, and his abominations are fulfilled, man. And then the Most High says, therefore appear no more, thou eagle, nor thy horrible wings, nor thy wicked feathers, nor thy malicious heads, nor thy hurtful claws, nor all thy vain body. That's the annihilation that I keep showing you guys the precepts on. Why? That all the earth might be refreshed and may return, being delivered from what? The violence of the eagle, man. The violence, man, of the so-called European, the Edomite. The whole world have to be delivered from his violence, man. The whole world needs a refreshing because he mash it up. That's why the Most High tell you he gonna destroy them that destroy the earth. Through greed, the Edomite has destroyed the entire earth family. And that's plain. It just is what it is. That's what happened, you know. Um, so he has to be annihilated, for people to be delivered from his violence, and that the world might hope for judgment and mercy of him that made her. Judgment, of course, being punishment for doing wrong, and mercy, for doing right, man. So the world have to get judged in righteousness again, ruled in righteousness again. But the eagle has to go for it to happen, right? If all these are the teachings of the Most High God, where the reading of Deuteronomy 23 and 7, as I've showed you guys, cannot be, thou shalt not abhor an Edomite. It's not possible. I already showed you guys it's a mistake that has been made before, and it is the same mistake that is here in Deuteronomy 23 and 7. Deuteronomy 23 and 7 should read, thou shalt not abhor a Syrian, for he is thy brother. Thou shalt not abhor an Egyptian, because thou was a stranger in his land. And I have an entire study proving that the Syrian is indeed a Shemite. Okay, Aram is of Shem. Okay, so he is the brother of the Israelite, right? And that's what this scripture actually says. This is Deuteronomy 23, verse 7, Decolonized. Thou shalt not abhor a Syrian, for he is thy brother. Thou shalt not abhor an Egyptian, because thou was a stranger in his land. The children that are begotten of them shall enter into the congregation of Yahawah in the third generation. That is the correct understanding without any contradiction. And with that, all praise to the Most High through Yahweh Shai the Prince. Um, amen, amen, and amen. Right? So, I'm gonna cut off the stream for the people on Facebook and these various platforms. If you want to learn how to walk in spirit and truth, with the true black God of the universe, written of in the Bible, stay in contact with us. Um, Yeah, for we are the ones to show you the way to the Most High, not religion, but his people, as he wrote in Psalm 147, verse 19 to 20, John 4, 22 to 24, Baruch 4, Baruch chapter 4, verse 1 to 6, if I remember correctly. It's us that's supposed to teach. Ezekiel 47 of verse 22 and 23. We are the ones that are supposed to give you an inheritance within the kingdom of the Most High. We are not in this for money. We're in this for the saving of souls. And to the oppressor, the eagle, who the Most High hates, he has reserved for you death and destruction, and you shall surely have it at his hand. All right, so let me just close off the live. And the brothers and sisters on the line, just stay for us to pray out.